This will be for YouTube and YouTube or IGTV. So what's up, guys? What is up? You guys are already watching and ready. 3, 2, 1. What's up? We're live. Road to Redemption podcast. We're back. And man, I've been having so much fun with this. I think about the podcast all the time now. It's really found to be, I found it to be my platform of choice here anymore. So maybe that means the other ones will start to dwindle or whatever. I don't know. I really like this one. So I hope you guys are having an amazing week. I think the last time we talked, I uploaded one Sunday. So today's Tuesday. I hope you guys are having an amazing start off to your week. And I think we have a good show for you. So go ahead and lock back, kick in, relax, get your mood all set up to be ready to think about some stuff. We got a big itinerary today. I'll go ahead and read the notes off as to what I got. First one is political. I feel like the last couple I've gone way more political than usual, and I think it's just from my exposure to it, being around it in the office all day. I hear about it. But I still think that I have a pretty good perspective of I'm not taking one side or the other in either case. I'm just telling them as the situation actually is. This one's only a little bit political just because it has to do with separating parties. So it's we the people, not we the political party. By pinning everyone against each other, why do people support? So pretty much what I'm trying to say there in that confusing sentence is the basis of America, and you hear that on both sides. This is what America is. America is freedom. America is we'll take you in, we'll make sure you're safe, and we'll get you set up on a right life, correct life. That's how one side sees it. The other one sees it as this is America. We keep our borders secure and our things safe, and this is how we the people. Both people are saying that, representing the same America, right? It's supposed to be we the people, and that also includes we the people take care of each other. We don't, try to bite each other's heads off over the government. It's we the people. We'll figure it out. But what it's turned to is we the Republicans, we the Democrats. That's literally the opposite of what we the people stands for. You're turning to I'm putting my faith in the government. I don't know if you guys remember the stories. That's literally why America was created, to stop that from happening. Because government had way too much control over things. But now, at the time that they have almost the most control that they've ever had, we're still choosing the government instead of choosing the people to settle our own problems. I thought that was kind of neat to look at, because when I'm sitting in the office all day, man, you hear it, and you hear it from all the different sides, really. Now, given it's Fox News, so they're a little more conservatively biased, but they have Democrats on the show and stuff like that. But what they don't often have is regular people who are not politicians, which was interesting to me. There's no people on there going, well, what do you think about what Mike Huckabee? And they'd be like, dude, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I'm just trying to control what I can control here. I'm not trying to do all this. I don't know anything about what you're talking about. I think the political divide, the race divide, all this stuff doesn't exist as much as it's fed to us to believe. Like I said, the clickbait stuff is through the roof anymore. Everybody's using some sort of clickbait something to get somebody to click on whatever it is that they're doing. My dog scared the crap out of me by trying to come in the room. I don't think it exists. I think people are genuinely good people, and I think that we all pretty much understand that there's things that are broken. We still live in the best country in the world. I think we can all acknowledge there's holes and there's gaps, but I think as the general public, we're getting along pretty well. I just think we're made to believe it's not, so that way we can go, well, things are so broken, and there's still racism, and there's still this, and there's still that. We need the government to intervene. Well, they want us to think that, because without that, what do we need them for, right? That was kind of interesting. I think that I think we still care about people and we still believe in ourselves that we can handle it pretty good. You just have to let us at this point. And I think it may come to a point where, within my kids' lifetimes at least, I hope it comes to a point where maybe they see that reign is loosened a little bit. Maybe the people actually get their say back instead of having to ask permission to be allowed to not hate people or not divide people or keep ourselves safe, or what we're allowed to do, like carry a gun, or what you're allowed to drink, eat, and smoke. Like that, I think we'll take some of that back. I think I see it coming, and I think we'll definitely be there again soon. I'm going to stop saying I think. The results of not complaining for a week. So if you guys saw on my Instagram post, I put that I was taking a 1-week challenge of no complaining. I could not verbally complain at all. Obviously, you can't stop the thoughts in your head. But you cannot verbally express a complaint. But you can write it. You're supposed to write every complaint that you would have said out of your mouth into the notes. Like I keep, if you have an iPhone, there's a notes app, which is what I use for the podcast all the time. You just write it down. Bing, bing, bing. It's like shooting a text. At the end of the week, you go back and read. All the times you would have said something that was a complaint, you read it. And over the week, I didn't have as many as I thought I would have, but I realized that I was kind of being self-conscious, or I was being aware of the fact that I was trying not to complain. So I could have stopped a thought before it was coming in if I had not just been thinking about it. But it was really cool. So I think I probably had, within a week, I think I had somewhere between 50 and 75 complaints. Most of it was pretty minor shit. Nothing really of any value. And I looked and I said, okay, well, challenge is over. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't really need to post my findings. There's nothing so interesting here that people would be like, oh my god, I didn't know that Cam complained about being stuck in traffic. We all do. Or complaining about his situation with his kids for the 1000th time. Like, you do realize, though, how repetitively you bitch about stuff when you actually are honest and write it down. So I went this next week where I didn't do that. I didn't try to stop myself. I didn't try not to complain. I just went back to being me. And I asked my wife on like Thursday or Friday, I said, you know what's funny? You know, I was doing that complaint challenge last week, and this week I've honestly found that I just don't have any complaints. I'm easier in traffic. It doesn't aggravate me as much when people do this or things like this come up. I just handled it and that was done. It was really interesting to see that just making a habit to not verbally complain for 1 week, how hardwired that changed my brain. Because, dude, I complain a lot. I'll bitch and moan and gripe on the stupidest shit in the world, like that I have no control over. So if my daughter's mom texts me, she is who she is, I know it's coming, and then I'll let my whole day be ruined by, well, this is why this is wrong, and I shouldn't have to deal with this, and she shouldn't be allowed to text me this crazy stuff. And I'm just bitching. Like, it does nothing. It's just trying to verbalize the frustration of what I realized last night is like, dude, you're going to deal with it. You're going to deal with it for the next 15 years. She is who she is. You can't force people to grow up. Be done with it. And I found that this week I didn't do that. Yesterday I got a text and I verbally expressed myself to my wife. That's a different thing. And that's a topic I want to touch on too. Verbally expressing your frustrations is one thing. Complaining is another. And that's what I really decided where that line was this week when I was writing down complaints. Because afterwards I saw, okay, well maybe that one's not a complaint. I was trying to verbally express myself and how I'm feeling about a situation instead of just going, well, you know, this fucking sucks and I'm this, that, and the other. I'm saying, okay, this is what happened. This is why it frustrated me. And I think to my core, it frustrated me because I realized there's nothing I can do about it. That's verbal expression. Do that. I think that's healthy because those are some of the best conversations I've ever had in my life. Like with my mother, my wife, my father. I call them and I go, look, this is what happened. Seemingly stupid, right? This is what happened. I felt this way about it. And I can't stop thinking about it. I can't get it off my head. Okay, well now you didn't sound like a whiny brat who's going, well, you know, the bank messed up my money and I overdrafted 25. You're complaining there. I guess it's the pity party. We've got to learn to knock the pity party off. Again, myself included, because I bitch all the time. Well, okay, here's a good one. I was in the shower the other day. I was in the shower, and my favorite shampoo is this Paul Mitchell lavender and tea tree oil shampoo. I love the way it smells. I get in the shower, and I ask my wife, hey, honey, where's the shampoo at? I spent like $35 on 2 bottles of shampoo because I'm a dumbass, and she said, you don't see it? It's right there in front of you. It's the green one. Garnier or whatever. And I was like, I'm in there going, motherfucker, son of a bitch. Where's my... I like the other one. What the hell? And I'm complaining. Instead of just being like, okay, whatever. It's shampoo. I'll fucking live. You know what I'm saying? Guys, don't be a diva. Don't be like me. And again, I'm not complaining at my wife. I'm not yelling at her for using the last of it or anything. I'm just genuinely bitching about the fact that my favorite shampoo is gone. And that's a first world problem. First world problem for sure. Is, again, there's people right now, there's 13-year-old kids who are having to strap a hay barrel to their back and walk 7 miles to try to do whatever, make a penny for the day. And my simple ass is complaining about hair products. Puts it into perspective, especially when you write it down. That was an honest one. I had to be very honest with myself. That was a complaint that I was doing. So I wrote it down when I got out of the shower. And you have to be willing to look at a not so pleasant part of yourself. But if you find that, you find out what that is, and you realize, retake. Like the other day, you know, perfect example, I was in the shower, and my favorite shampoo that I use, it's this Paul Mitchell tea tree and lavender, or tea tree and lavender shampoo. I get in the shower and I'm like, hey honey, you know, where's the shampoo at? She goes, oh, we ran out. The new one, I already replaced the new bottle in there. I was like, well, what the hell? And I'm in there, literally, in my mind, complaining, going, but I don't, you know, I want mine. That's my favorite. And I'm complaining because of shampoo, which is, as I was saying in the last clip, if you guys don't know here on the podcast, I had paused, and I thought I re-recorded, so I just re-recorded about 10 minutes that only the YouTube channel will see, because I lost it. I just stopped recording and tried to jump back in, but I didn't hit the record button. So I've said this already. But yeah, I was complaining and I was just saying that it was a total first world problem. You know, there's a kid in Bolivia or something who's 13 years old and has to carry like a hay bale on his back for 7 miles for work. And I'm complaining about hair care products. Silly, right? The privileges we have that we definitely take advantage of, and that's what you'll find. You'll find it's when you make that list of things that you honestly complain about, when you genuinely say, okay, this was something that I made an issue in my day that I was about to complain about, write it down. It's not very flattering, but it teaches you, and that's the only way you can get better, is not to learn to... When you learn to not let small shit bother you so much because of how privileged we are to even have that problem, it changes the game. And there's a lot of situations. It's not just first world to third world problems. There's people right here in America who, you know, they're lucky if they get to take a shower. And I'm bitching about that my favorite, which is still a pretty good shampoo, but it's not my favorite. Done complaining about the shampoo. No, I guess I'm digging that back up because it hurts so bad. The psycho benefits of small victories. Okay, for that one, mine is, we've talked about this a few times, I have some sort of infatuation with drinking things. I always have to have some, if you guys look right now, if the YouTube video can see it, I have 2 drinks sitting right here next to me. I don't necessarily touch them, but I've got my coffee, my Seabag Locker coffee, and then I've got a bottle of water that some way through this podcast I'll put a Strike Force Energy in. I always have to have some kind of flavor by liquid. I have some kind of drinking thing. And for me, like when money gets tight, right? I'm pretty good, right? If I know that this bill has to be paid a day later, which means we're going to have to pay $25 more, and things are just kind of stressful. If I have, say $2, if I know that I've only got $2 in the bank, now I'm not saying to do this is an irresponsible way, but I'm trying to break it down to the simplest form. Okay, say that I have to make a decision to pay a bill late because this, that, and the other, whatever the reason is. But you have enough money to live for the foreseeable week. You've got it all planned out. For me, as long as I can afford to buy a $2 drink that I like, and I could sit down and enjoy that while I'm really sitting down and mapping out the bigger plan, that's a small victory. For that second, I can sit back with something that I enjoy and then figure everything else out. That's a small victory. Now, when you do that, what I found, and I know to this point it probably sounds selfish. People are like, dude, that's not financially smart. You're being selfish. Hear me out. When you do that, you realize that things start to actually get better, right? Okay, I had $15 to grab myself gas tomorrow, but I can still afford one drink. You sit down, you enjoy the drink, and then you make a bigger plan. You're taking more steps because now you're not sitting there going, well, I only have $15 and there's this and there's that and I have all these problems. You can go, but you know what? I can grab my drink today. I can sit down. I can figure it out. Boom. Results come from that. And I've just found that since I've started doing that, things always seem to work out because I don't allow myself to get to a pity party state. I have small little victories. Right? Okay. Hey, dude, it's July 4th weekend. You get paid the week before. Oh, shit. Okay, cool. And now I can pay that bill. And now it's this and that. And things just happen because you don't sit around and sulk. But you have to be willing to give yourself the small victories. I talk about financial instability a lot because, guys, I'm not a good financial person. I'm not. I spend a lot. My wife saves a lot. She knows all of that stuff. But I grew up very financially unstable. My mom worked her ass off, but we didn't have a lot of money. For me, on a night, a small victory in my night would have been when my mom could be home to eat with us because that means I knew that she would stay up later watching TV with us. That was a small victory. We may not have gotten to have filet mignon for dinner or anything because she had to take more time off to work. But the financial things didn't seem to matter. That's an immaturity that I have because of the mental connection that I've had to, small financial inconveniences lead to better things. I'm cool with that. I have to be better about that. But like I was saying before I went down memory lane there, and I may turn this podcast. I may go down that route because it's something I was thinking about the other week, like last week. I've never really told my upbringing story. I've mentioned little things about it, but I've never really told it. And I might pause this podcast right now and throw all my notes out the window and just go down that road. Tell you guys about my childhood. Tell you guys about the mistakes that I made, the honest ones, before the drinking, before stuff like that. And this may turn into a long podcast, but I think it maybe gives you guys better understanding of who I am, where I'm coming from. So I don't even need to pause it. I'm going to jump right into it. And I apologize for taking such a left turn on you, but I think this is going to add more value than it will really change the podcast. So let me take a coffee break here. I'm going to take a drink, and then we'll get into it. All right. So I was born and raised on the west side of Columbus, Ohio. My mother, Jeannie, my dad, Rob, and my sister, Lauren. That's my family. And then, so mom and dad were split way before I was born and, or before I was old enough to know what was going on. So I mainly grew up with my mom. When I grew up with my mom, she had to work all the time, all the time to try to provide for us, provide for me and my sister. So my sister pretty much raised me. My sister was 4 years older than I was. My mom was out so much she had to work that my sister pretty much raised me. Obviously, my sister at the time would have been like 12, so I would have been 11, 10, 9, 8. That's my first real memory as a kid. That's all I really know, is starting in a house, a little house on the west side of Columbus, Ohio, and me and my sister being together. Well, then I got to be, I don't know, I don't remember how old I was, but I met my best friend, Griff, and I don't talk much about Griff just because we lost communications, but I met Griff in preschool. His parents started taking care of me, I think I was around third or fourth grade, and while at night, you know, my sister's the one that raised me, all through the day, it was Griff and his family. Erica and Chris were his parents, and my mom had to work so much that, you know, there was nights where I wouldn't see her at all. You know, she'd put me on the school bus and then that was it, until I'd see her the next morning for when she'd be putting us on the bus again. So I would spend all day, especially in the summer, with Griff and his family. I lived there. I had a spot to sleep there and everything. Most of my clothes were there. That's just who I hung out with. I went to their family's parties and stuff like that. And so I didn't get to see my mom a whole lot. My dad was, as I know it now, from talking to him and stuff, my dad had to work so much to pay his child support and still try to get ahead in life. He was trying to build a better life for me and my sister, that I didn't get to see him all that often. I really didn't start seeing my dad until I was around 14. For real, when him and I had a place to sleep at his house and stuff like that. So I know it now to be that's why he was gone. But when I was coming up, I was always led to believe that my dad didn't care. He had other priorities. He was a selfish son of a bitch, this, that, and the other. There was just a lot of voices telling me who my dad was. And because I didn't get to see him, I didn't know any better. So on the occasional weekend that he would come and pick us up, he would pick me and my sister up, usually he would take us out to something fun. You know, he would take us to Dave & Buster's, and he would take us to Frisch's or something. He would make sure that somehow we had fun with him. And then, you know, yeah, we missed our mom, dude, because we've heard all this bullshit about your mom is this, your dad is this. They're talking against each other, and on both sides it's happening. And then, so, yeah, you have your fun like any kid would do when you're going to Dave & Buster's and shit, but at the time you're like, I want to go home to my mom. You know, I'm good. Time's over. I want to go. And dude, that does something to a parent. Like, my dad felt that shit. My dad felt that. And at the same time, my mom, she wanted us to have a relationship with our dad, but there was still a lot of hurt and anger there. Me as an adult now, and this is going to be the hard part, is I'm going to keep switching mindsets to the adult that I am now and have to be real with the mindset that I had then. So I saw that everybody wanted what's best for me now, but at the time I only knew, my dad didn't talk a lot, right? My dad didn't say a lot about my mom and things that had happened, and their relationship is still relatively freshly broken off, so there's resentment there. But anyway, so I grew up in a lot of negativity. My mom and her side didn't care much for my dad. My dad never said much, but when he did, it wasn't real positive. And then his whole family